tell me why. Tell me
I don't need this no more. I don't need to stay, finna walk out that door. My mistake, giving you love galore. Hope you find someone that can really adore you. Don't worry, I ain't keeping grudges, cause I'm doing better, life cannot be more golden. But honestly, I won't lie, sometimes I ask why I can't get you out my head. Now hard to forget that I
really need to cut you off. You're always trying to lead me on. You're making all these promises, and you'd always quit. You're just another hypocrite. No, I'm can't 시간을 후회해. No, you thought that I would always stay, but you thought I'd be yours, and 지금은 알려 nobody. Someone tell me why. Can't move on from you. I still think about you. Tell me everything, like I'm ready to. Doesn't mean all the things you said. You know that he moved on. 관심 없어 어떻게 지내던. I already have a bunch of guys lined up. How'd you lose a baddie like me? You're lost, boy. I'm actually doing just fine. Even when you were not mine, but 가끔씩은 널 잊고 싶은데 그게 잘 안 돼. No, I really need to cut you off. You're always trying to lead me on. You're making all these promises, and you'd always quit. You're just another hypocrite. No, I'm can't 시간을 후회해. No, you thought that I would always stay, but you thought I'd be yours. 이 지금은 알려 nobody. Someone tell me why. Can't move on from you. I still think about you. Tell me everything, like I'm ready to. Doesn't mean all the things you said. Someone tell me why. Can't
she's still gonna cut me off. Welcome everybody. It is Friday. Yay! What's up? It's 2025. Starting the new year with some laid back music this time around. So, welcome everybody. Let us change over and what's up? Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Doll, the very first episode of 2025. Today we are going to talk about some pretty interesting stuff. Don't know how long it's going to go because I just don't know. As you guys know with my channel, I could plan for it to be short or long and it always just goes all over the place anyway. So there's no real way to really plan for that. So without further ado, I am your host, Shizu-san, as always, and my beautiful assistant with me today to start off 2025, right? We have Cheryl Gnome. Everybody clap. Clap for Cheryl Gnome. Yay! Oh, I forgot my clap button. Damn. I totally screwed that up. I could have done it. Does it work? No, it doesn't work. My buttons are broken. Nope, that's the wrong one. There we go. Oops. Didn't mean the fake cursing. You know what I mean? But it happens. What? It happens sometimes. So yeah. We are here for episode 49, which is really weird. We're starting with 49 for the year 2025. I thought maybe we'd start with 50. Well, we should have started with 50, but last year I kind of missed a few episodes towards the end of the year because I was pretty busy. But whatever. You win some, you lose some, right? So today's episode is going to be 2025 plans. Basically, what am I going to be up to? I kind of covered most of it in last week's Doll Symposium, and I wasn't really planning to, but I kind of got carried away when I was talking about things, and I ended up talking way too long. So it's going to be more of a recap of that. So if you didn't watch last week's episode, we'll be doing some of that with some visual aids this time too. Because last time I was just pretty much just talking my head off. And then after that, I want to get into a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a little bit because I've been noticing some differences in regards to FOMO and our hobby. So that's pretty much the plans for today's episode. So before we get started, let me say hello to everybody in chat. Tempest Strife, yes, you were first. Welcome to the stream, Tempest, and PMB Sakura came in second. Welcome, PMB. Ben Benjamin, what's up? And Magical Girl Kit Kat, what's going on? Sewing while lurking? While lurking? Yes, that's not a problem. Come to hang out with me. Get your sewing done. You know me. I talk anyway. So if you need something droning in the background. I'm good for that. Derping around some FCS sites. What do you mean by some FCS sites? Isn't there just one? There's just one full choice, right? It's the Japanese site. Or is there some other thing that I don't know about, Tempest? Anyways, welcome everybody to the stream and welcome everybody that's watching this later on the VODs. So let's get started with what's going on in 2025. So I already mentioned it last week. But just to recap for those that didn't watch last week's episode, I'm going to take a little bit of a step back from streaming. I don't know, it's weird though. When I first started doing streaming, I did it where it's like, I'll do every single Friday. And I remember some of you in the chat were like, oh, you don't have to do every single Friday. That's a bit much. It was actually, but I kind of wanted to try and keep myself on like a set schedule. It kind of forces me to use the creative juices a little bit more and, come up with different topics for each week that we do the Beyond the Doll. And for the most part, it worked out really well. The only problem is that my life plans changed as the kids are getting older and wanting to do more after school activities. And, they're just growing up overall rather than just, when they're babies, they just kind of lie there and you're just like, oh, it's cute. And then just hang out with me and sleep and watch TV. Now they have their own things that they like, their own things they want to do. And, it takes up some time. Not that it's bad, but, it's just a part of life. And juggling all that stuff, especially last year when they started really getting into activities, it was really hard juggling everything. So this year, I'm going to take a slight step back. And instead of every single Friday, we'll just do the first and the third. So it's like saying every other Friday. And some months, because some months are a little bit longer than others, maybe we'll have an extra break in between. But essentially what it is, we'll do the news, we'll do the Doll Symposium the first week of every month. And then the third week of every month, we will do an episode of Beyond the Doll. I have plans to fix my computer. I say fix, it's a brand new computer, but I just haven't really set up my audio cables for it. And then I want to start having guests on the show again. It's a little difficult sometimes getting guests because sometimes our schedules just don't align, and I know I stream at an inconvenient time for some people. So, trying to organize guests to come on has been a little bit harder than I thought it would be. But I think after doing like almost an entire year of just me going solo on Beyond the Doll, I think we need other voices to participate, just to lend a voice to other points of view. Even though a lot of the guests I bring on and, most of my close friends that I bring on, we usually gravitate around the same thing, but it's always nice to hear something, not necessarily an opposite point of view where it's like we're just butting heads kind of thing, but more so just see somebody else's take. So hopefully we can get it up and running and have at least a few guests on for 2025. So yes, it's just going to be one episode of the news at the very beginning of the month, one episode of Beyond the Doll on the third week of every month, and then it'll still be on Fridays. It's just something to slow down so I can, get ready and do things with the family instead of like planning out my week for the videos every single week. But yeah, that's the plan in a nutshell for that. Also, I did mention this last week too, but I'm kind of like thinking about not doing any more unboxing videos. I say that, but I probably will do one or two anyways. It's more so, I don't know, like I'm not buying as many things as before because I'm running out of space. So I'm trying to cut down on like the dolls that I have, but sometimes you get a really cool doll that you just got to share. So, maybe throughout 2025, you just might see me randomly with a new doll on stream because I didn't do an unboxing video. And then other times you'll probably see a doll that I did an unboxing. But my goal is to still focus on news and hot button topics for Beyond the Doll. Everything else will take like pretty much a backseat to those two main programs. And then touching upon my schedule for 2025, I want to still continue to do different conventions and do panels for dolls and things like that. But I usually hit up the same places every single year. So I want to try and do different places. However, I say that, but really I have a lineup of all the same hits that I still go to anyways. But every now and then I wanted to see if I could try to sprinkle in something new. Like that's really the plan. I'm going to try and sprinkle something else new, like a new convention I've never been to, and see, how things go. So with that being said, the first one that's coming up that I want to go over with you guys. Can we change this here, please? There we go. So the first one is called ZenkaiCon, and I can't fit. The screen's too small. We can't both fit. We could try to both fit. The first one up is ZenkaiCon. This is coming up March 20th to 23rd. This will be a Pennsylvania con based out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I've never been to this one. This is going to be a first for me. I honestly don't know if it's like a big con or a small con or a medium-sized con. Like, I really don't know. But I was just looking into stuff like within a reasonable driving distance from my house. So I was like, oh, this one's not too bad. It's about maybe like an hour and a half, drive away from my place. Maybe kind of pushing 2 hours. And I figure I'll try it out. So I applied to do some panels there, and most of my panels were rejected, but they did accept my Intro to Anime Dolls panel, which is funny because I was planning on retiring that panel because I've done it already in so many places. But since this is a new con I've never been to, why not do Intro to Anime Dolls anyways? So I'm going to do that one. My sumo panels got rejected. My anime related panels, they got rejected for some weird reason. The anime ones got rejected at an anime con. But those got rejected. So I won't know my schedule for Zenkai Con. They said they're going to send it probably to me like close to end of February. I believe they were going to send the schedule out. So I don't know what day I'll be there. I mean, it could be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I have no idea. So I'll let you guys know as we get closer to that date. And if anyone's in the area of Zenkai Con, and you want, like, I can like host like a mini like doll meetup at Zenkai Con, if people are interested. So it really depends on, honestly, it really depends on who's watching this stream. I get a lot of people that, I say a lot, but I get quite a number of people that watch my streams, whether it's live or just on the VODs afterwards. But again, how should I say this? My viewership is spread out throughout the world, apparently, which is really cool to say that instead of just locals. But it really spans around the world. I have people from all different kinds of places. So the majority of you that are watching probably couldn't go to this con because you might be way too far away. But for those of you that are close by, let me know. You know, maybe I'll try and host like a small like impromptu meetup and have some small things planned for it. But that's Zenkai Con. So that'll be coming up in March. And then the next one I'm going to go to, I'll take like a little bit of a break, but then when that would be for Thy Geekdom Con. So Thy Geekdom Con has been a staple for me, pretty much for the past, 2 years that we've been doing this, Tempest? I think it was like, yeah, I think we did it 1, 2, 2. Yeah, I think it's 2 years so far we've been doing it, where we have our own doll booth. So we're trying to essentially we're trying to get the word out there about this hobby so that the ultimate goal maybe is have like our own like doll convention, because we don't have one here on the East Coast, which I say that now, but like there is a doll convention coming up in New York City called New York City Doll Con. It's new, obviously, so this is the first year they're doing it. I don't know how it's going to go. It's in a place that I'm not too much of a fan of. It's not like it's in a bad place. It's actually in a bougie neighborhood. It's like an up-and-coming bougie area. So it's like really expensive in that area, but it's also not real easy to navigate to in the city. So like, how do I explain this? Usually in like big cities, you can take public transportation. You can here also, but it's not as easily viable as if you were in like Manhattan, let's just say. So it's a bit to get out there. But you never know. I mean, it could, if it ends up doing really well, it could get bigger. It could change venues to somewhere that's a little bit more accessible for most people. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I honestly don't even know if I'm gonna go now. Not because I don't want to go, is because I've been waiting too long to buy my tickets. And I think the single day tickets, if I'm not mistaken, like Saturday only ticket is sold out. So the only time I can go is if I get a Sunday ticket or if I get a weekend ticket. But I don't really plan on going the whole weekend. I just want to go one day. So it's like, so I'm spending more money for a weekend ticket when I'm not going the whole weekend, but it is what it is. It's purely my fault. I waited too long to buy the tickets, and I still haven't bought my ticket yet. But I do want to. So when I get around to it, hopefully there's still tickets available so I could go. But yeah. Anyways, with Thy Geekdom Con, going back to that, we've been doing our own doll booth for the past 2 years, and it's every year I want to say it gets better, because we get more and more people coming back saying, oh, I saw you from last year and things like that. And, we had a good time. And some of those people that come back, we, end up being, I don't want to say like good friends because we don't know them like that. Not to say that I don't want to be their friends, but it's more so like, they come back and it's like, oh, I remember you from last time. How's it been? Just like small talk, which could eventually like turn into something bigger. But the point is that there's a small following starting to grow, and I don't know how long we are going to continue to do Thy Geekdom Con, but it has been fruitful for the past 2 years, and I'm me and the other people at the booth like Tempest and Kit and Cat Shop, we are working hard every year to make this a good event, at least doll event booth wise, for people to want to come back the next year and see, what's going on, what kind of new stuff that is on display, to see, to kind of entice people like, hey, check out this hobby. Even amongst all the other vendors at the con, like the other people that have their own booths, we're becoming well noticed, let's just say. Like, people remember us and they're like, oh yeah, we saw you last year too, and it's good to see you back again. So it's been really good. It's been fruitful. So again, I don't know how long we'll keep doing it, but for the foreseeable future, it's probably going to be a staple of ours to do until either I or Tempest or whatever can't do it anymore due to personal life reasons, I guess. So we are going to have the booth. As always, we're going to have giveaways this year. I don't think we decided exactly on what the giveaway will be this year, but just to give you an example, like our first year, we gave away some dolls, different kind of dolls, between like Barbies, and I think we had Bratz and a resin doll. And then last year, we actually had a brand new Tiny Fox doll that was the grand prize, along with other like Bratz or Barbies and things like that, and some little what they call those, the blind box dolls. So this year, we haven't really nailed down exactly what will be the giveaways, but there'll be something in store for this year. And it's purely free to enter into the giveaways and get these dolls. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to exchange any personal information, which makes it really easy and accessible for a lot of people. And this purely comes out of our own pockets. Like our booth is not sponsored or anything. Like, we just shell out our own money to do this, to, spread the word about this and get people interested and possibly give them their first dolls so that they can, get their own foray into the hobby, so to speak. So this will be our 3rd year, and hopefully it'll go really, really well. But yeah, that's like GeekCon. So that's going to be in May. It's May 23rd to 25th. The bad thing about Thy Geekdom Con, which I have to say, it's not Thy Geekdom Con, the con itself, that's bad. It's just the timing of it. For some reason, Thy Geekdom Con has always been the same time every year. It's on May. It falls upon the holiday weekend of what's the weekend? It's not Labor Day. What is it? There's an American holiday. I'm so bad. I blanked on what weekend it is, but it's always on the same like holiday weekend. So it's like a 3-day weekend for most people. And it's usually been just its own thing. But this year, like 4 other conventions decided to use the same damn weekend. So I actually was planning on missing Thy Geekdom this year because I wanted to go to Doll North in Toronto. But one, I couldn't, Memorial Day, thank you, Becca. One, I couldn't get the passports in time for the kids so that we can cross the border. And then 2, it falls on the same weekend as Thy Geekdom Con. So, I was just like, whatever. And then also I wanted to do Anime Boston this year. To go back to it, because I haven't been to Anime Boston and presented anything doll related for like maybe like 5 or 6 years. It's been a while, but they also moved their convention to the same weekend. So it's Thy Geekdom, it's Doll North, it's Anime Boston, and there was one other one that was that same exact weekend too. And it's just really weird that it all ended up being that weekend. So I don't know how turnout is going to be on that weekend, because now people really have to decide, like, are we going to this one, or this one? And they're all within like, that northeast, area of of the United States. So I don't know why. It's like, I guess everybody got a deal for that weekend for something. I don't know. But definitely, if you want to come and see something cool and see us and just hang out and talk dolls and enter in the giveaways, come to Thy Geekdom Con on May 23rd to 25th. It's also, aside from the dolls, it's just everything geeky. Like, I don't know how else to say it other than the description is literally in the name for Thy Geekdom Con. There's video games, there's comic books, there's Dungeons and Dragons stuff, there's TCG stuff. There's a plethora of different things here. It's not like it's an anime Boston where it's all anime and video games. Like, it's literally a hodgepodge of all different kinds of things. They even have a barber there. Like, I don't know if they're gonna have it again this year, but they had like a barber cutting hair at the con. And they had tattoo artists there also giving tattoos. So it really is like a all you can eat buffet of just like random stuff. And that's not to say it in a negative way. It's actually pretty cool. Like, just seeing all these different things here it's actually pretty cool. You're not how do you say it? You're not really spoiled for choice per se. So if you can, come out to Thy Geekdom Con May 23rd to 25th. I know a couple of you have been like, hold on, before I move on, a couple of you have been typing like a lot. Tempest says I should do more dress up videos. I can. I don't know how many people want to see my dress up videos, but I could. And Scruffy wants me to do dress up of myself. I'm not gonna be one of those YouTubers. No YouTube shorts of me like putting on outfits. But I guess I could. Let's see. Anna says she's just on worldwide. No, not worldwide. I mean, like, there's a couple people here and there that watch my stuff, but I wouldn't really say I'm worldwide. Let's see. Tempest. Oh, Tempest has a panel at New York City DollCon. Oh, congratulations, Tempest. Hopefully, if I get tickets to go the same day that your panel is in, I'll be there. Yoshi Plays. Welcome to the stream, Yoshi Plays. How am I doing? I'm doing great. Hopefully, your 2025 has started off great. Let's see. Corey says, I like Thy Geekdom Con. I have a lot of fun aside from the doll stuff. Yeah, Thy Geekdom Con is just really good. There's just so many different things there. There's just a lot to see. And every year it gets big. Like, I remember the first year I went there, it was really small. And it was like a big, like, convention hall, but they utilized only like maybe 30% of the space. And then every year it gets bigger and bigger. So like last year it was pretty damn big. They almost filled, I want to say they almost filled the whole hall. The only extra space that was left over was back by the tattoo booths and like where the Itasha cars were. But other than that, they filled up a lot of space last year. So hopefully this year will be really, really big. Okay, so Anna confirms we're doing some more blind box stuff for Thy Geekdom. Let's see. Becca says there might be a survey to enter for the giveaways, which will still be anonymous, but there might be a survey, probably to help us out, like figure out what we want to plan for the next time. Let's see, what else is on here? At least we have the Monday to be introverts after all the extroverting. That is true. Like spending... So if you haven't worked a convention before, like as a vendor or booth or an artist, it can be very taxing. You're like standing a lot. They do give you chairs, but you want to interact with the crowd. So you're pretty much like standing most of the time, and you take breaks every now and then. We'll rotate out. But it is very taxing, especially for 3-day con. It's pretty taxing. We're all pretty much dead at the end of the day. Let's see. Corey says it's strange the other cons would pick that weekend when they know that I will be at Thy Geekdom Con. Yes, Dungeons, Dragons, and Dolls. Yeah. My siblings will be at Boston vending, so one less person at the booth there. Oh, really? Okay. Thy Geekdom Con is nice and chill, not too big, but not a college convention. That's a good distinction. It's not super big like Otakon or Anime NYC, but it's not super small like your local college anime convention. It's kind of like, actually, I don't even want to say like it's slightly bigger. It's actually much bigger than a college convention now that it has grown a lot. It's gotten way bigger. Let me see. Why is my phone? Stop it. My phone is like vibrating like crazy. Okay. Next up, after Thy Geekdom Con is going to be Otakon. I don't know if I'm going to be accepted to panels at Otakon this year. I might not. But even if I don't, I'm pretty much planning on still going anyways. Just because I feel like Otakon is one of those cons. If I only go to one con every year, as a not panelist or vendor or whatever, just as a pure attendee, if I were to go to any con, it's just Otakon. There's just so much to see and there's so much to do that, like, I don't know. I just like the being there. Like, Washington DC is not like the greatest place, but they do have around the convention center really good places to eat. So it's just one of my favorite cons to go to until I find another favorite con that kind of wins out. So Otakon's going to be August 8th through August 10th. It's usually in that area. It's either the end of July or the beginning of August is usually when it happens. And now that Anime NYC has moved over to August, it's like 2 big cons in the same month. I can't do that. And if I had to pick between Otakon and Anime NYC, I do like Otakon more. The only time I would go to Anime NYC in August over an Otakon is probably if certain special guests attend Anime NYC. Then I would choose that over Otakon. But for the most part, Otakon's just great. It's very easy to get lost though in Otakon because it's so big. Let's see. Tempest says, "Oh yeah, like the video to help the algorithm suggest more people to the live." I mean, it could. Kit and Cat Shop says, "Otakon equals so close to us. Is there a doll meet? Last year's was awesome." There probably will be. I mean, if I'm going to Otakon, I'll probably organize something. I just don't know. You know, you guys know me. I'm like so bad at organizing these things. The only reason we had a great doll meetup last year is thankfully to one of our usual attendees here, Batman Jackson, who got us our own room to have a meetup. So we had a lot of people show up since we had our own room, and it was a great time. So hopefully next year or this year in Otakon, we could do the same thing. But I honestly don't know. I would have to talk with Batman Jackson to see if we can get another room as well as have it printed on the schedule. Because most of the time my meetups are impromptu. It's mostly like I'll send a message out to everybody. I'll post it on Instagram. I'll hashtag it with the con's name and all that so people know that it's happening. But if you can get it on the actual programming schedule so people can see that before they even go to the con, that's even better. And that's probably why we had a much better turnout last year, is because we got it on the schedule and we got our own room. So we'll see what happens. I'll work with Batman Jackson to ask her if that's a possibility again for this year. And then after that, last but not least, is going to be Anime New Jersey ++. I usually go to Anime Next every year, but Anime Next has been on a hiatus. I don't even know if they're coming back. But I did go to Anime New Jersey ++ last year, and it was their second year for that con. So, it's still a small and up-and-coming con, but it was a lot of fun. They had, for such a small con too, it was interesting that they had about, 4 panel rooms? They had 4 panel rooms, maid cafe, they had a concert. So, it definitely has that small hometown feel to it. But I feel like with the absence of other conventions that stopped, I guess, doing their thing in New Jersey, that the possibility for Anime New Jersey ++ to grow is greater, since less competition, since other conventions have stopped doing their thing. So we'll see, but I'm definitely gonna go again this year to Anime New Jersey ++. It's just a great local con. Like, if you're New Jerseyan, dare I say even someone from New York, it's very easy to get to since it's close to the New York side. You still need a car, You could probably take a train to the nearest train station and then just Uber over to it. But that's if you want to do that kind of thing. Not everybody wants to like Uber to a new place, but it's up to you. Either way, I'll be there. I think it was a nice, quaint little convention. I had a lot of fun there. So hopefully some of you will show up and hang out for like a doll hangout. And then, you know how I said, like, I'm going to sprinkle in a couple new conventions I'd never been to. Those I didn't mention yet because I'm trying to see if I can get into them first. So I don't want to like mention any of the other new ones until I have confirmation that I'll be going. So expect there to be another convention somewhere in between any of these where I might show up and do something. We'll see. But that's basically like my convention plans for 2025, at least the guaranteed ones. There are some, like, there is one that I'm trying to go to that may be way farther out, like probably somewhere in the south or the west of the United States where I have to utilize a plane to get there. But that really depends if I can get my I's dotted and my T's crossed. So if I can, I will let you guys know ahead of time where that will be. But I definitely want to branch out and try other places. And I believe that's everything for 2025. So we kind of covered like my live stream schedules and my convention schedules. And I think that, why is my screen frozen? Hold on, guys. Oh, no, there we go. Sorry. Wrong thing. So that's pretty much everything. I don't know if there's any other updates that I need to do per se. Hold on, thinking. I think that's everything. I think I covered everything. Yeah, I think so. Okay. That being said, that I covered everything. What are you saying? Oh, Tempest said printed in schedule equals people pack their dolls. Yeah. Anime Next, she's dead, Jim. I think so. I think Anime Next might be done. It might be donezo, but I don't know. You never know. It may make a comeback, but it's not looking good. Let's just say that it's not looking good for it to come back. Okay. Now let's talk about the second topic for today's episode. The real Beyond the Doll topic, not the Shizu-san's update on what he's doing. So I was thinking about this Fomo thing. So if you guys remember, I want to say it was last year where I did an episode about Fomo. And for those of you that are not familiar with the terminology, FOMO means fear of missing out. So this particular topic really resonates with Smart Doll. So we're mainly going to be talking about Smart Doll in this episode. So with other doll companies like Volks and A-Zone, there definitely is FOMO. When it comes to those kind of things, like, oh, I if I don't buy this Final Fantasy doll now, the only time I'll be able to get it is from scalpers and pay double the price. So I don't want to do that, but I don't really have money now, but I really want it, and it's going to be gone, and they're never going to make it again, and okay, I just bought it. So, that happens with all the big box companies. It's not just for dolls, it's for toys and collectibles too. But what I noticed, and what a lot of the people in the community has noticed, especially if you're a Smart Doll collector, is that Smart Doll has definitely I don't think peaked is a word. It's hitting a stride. Let's say that. Smart Doll has definitely hit a stride and has become very, very trendy as of late. Everybody is just learning about these dolls, and they want to get into them, and especially with Danny doing things like diversity and inclusivity of having different dolls in different shades of skin tones, as well as now he has a different body type with the pear-shaped girls. It's been garnering a lot of attention for a lot of people, and not just people in the doll hobby, but people that have never been a part of the doll hobby, but just kind of noticed it around either through Instagram or some form of social media like YouTube or Twitter or whatever. People have been discovering the doll hobby, and I know that it's a little biased to say that people discovered the doll hobby because of Smart Doll, but I feel like it kind of is. Like, there are many other doll companies out there, such as Volks, such as A-Zone, such as Obitsu, such as a couple other smaller doll companies that are starting to emerge. But then you have your mainstays of resin dolls as well that people enter into the hobby from. But there's something about Smart Doll, whether it's Smart Doll itself or it's just the community that surrounds Smart Doll, but it's becoming an international phenom, if I were to say. Because before Smart Doll even came about, back when I first started in this hobby, before Smart Doll ever was even a whisper, the biggest company that a lot of people bought from for vinyl dolls was Volks, and then the second biggest would be A-Zone. And I want to say internationally known. Yeah, the word has gotten around. People do know that A-Zone exists. People do know that Volks exists. But it's mostly something that is widely known within the doll community. So if you're in the doll community for anything, Barbie, Bratz, pull-ups, Blides, resin dolls, you know of Volks, you know of A-Zone, you know of Obitsu. These are all like brands that you would know of, at least, even if you didn't collect them, that they existed. But people outside of the hobby, people that are not a part of the doll scene, they have no idea what these things are. And I remember when I got my first dolls and I would take them out in public, most people... Well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say most people. But what I will say is that a lot of individuals thought it, when I saw me in public with it, they thought it was a sex doll. which I never understood the whole like pervy sex doll thing, because they're giant for dolls, okay? They're like, when you compare it to your average American doll like a Barbie or a Bratz, these things are giant sized, right? But like, if you want to call it like a quote unquote sex doll, this thing's too small for that. Like, I don't know what you're going to get out of it for that. So like, I always found it really weird that people jump to the conclusion that it's a sex doll. They're like, what are you going to do with something this small? like I just didn't understand that. And then there was always the other side of the coin where people were just like, oh, it's so pervy. People just want it for pervy reasons, right? And then if you want to go the other route and just say, oh, well, that's just immature, or that's gay, or that's this, or that's that. There were so many labels when I first started in the doll hobby, especially being a man collecting dolls. So many labels, and that's a whole different discussion. And we had a whole episode about dolls and doll owners and perceptions and things like that. So I'm not going to get too into that because we already discussed it. But so many labels about me when I was going out in public with my dolls and taking pictures and going to the conventions. There was always something that people said. Very rarely did people even know what the doll was. And every now and then you got some really nice people that said, oh, that's beautiful. Can you tell me more about it? I'd like to learn about it, kind of thing. But I want to say, ever since Smart Doll came out, something about Smart Doll called to certain people, let's just say. Whether it be the visual aesthetic of a Smart Doll, whether it be the enticement of different skin tone options that were available in Smart Doll, or whether or not you were just a fan of anime or you were a fan of Danny Chu and, just kind of went from one thing to the other. For whatever reason you want to decide it would be, or if you decide all of those reasons are valid, it went through a huge growth spurt of Smart Doll from a small and up and coming company to something that's starting to challenge the bigger name brand companies. Now, I know when I say challenged, that might trigger some of you because you're like, no, Volks is bigger, they make more money, and blah 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 blah, which is true, there's no denying that Volks is a bigger company, and there's no denying that Volks makes more money. As funny as it may sound, Volks, I think, still makes way more money than SmartDoll does. And it's purely because of the sheer volume that they can pump out. Like, being a big company like that, they can pump out way more dolls, they can afford way more licensing agreements than a small company like SmartDoll. Especially a small company like SmartDoll, where their focus is to spread like their love or their passion for the hobby, as well as express their creativity. And they have no interest in growing the company in a bigger size. So they're really just a small company of 18 individuals, including the owner and creator himself, Danny Chu. Like, that's a very small company to serve a worldwide audience. Whereas you have people like Volks that have, I don't even know how many employees or how many factories, or even if there's one factory or not, but they are definitely much bigger with a bigger spending budget. That being said, I don't know if it's because of Danny Chu himself, like maybe his charisma, his pizzazz on how he presents his dolls, or maybe it's because his background in, working with computers and knowing how social media works so well, working with companies like Good Smile and things like that. Like, I don't know how much of those things really affected or not affect SmartDoll in its growing period. But for whatever it is, whatever you want to think or believe, you cannot deny the fact that SmartDoll has rose in a huge amount of popularity, whether it be good or bad, because, as one famous person said, any press is good press, whether it be good or bad. So it's so even if people are dissing him or making fun of his dolls or saying that they're not as great, it's still word that's out there of SmartDoll that's traveling. And I want to say it's definitely from COVID. I want to say from COVID onwards is when SmartDoll really got its boost. Again, there's many different attributing factors to that. And regardless of what factor you want to believe in, I still don't think you can deny that the popularity of SmartDoll has even grown I said even way too many times, has grown even bigger during the pandemic until now. And during that time frame, the concept of Fomo has been going really big because there's so much demand and so little staff to make more and more dolls. Things were selling out fast. And when things become more popular, then, it attracts a certain kind of company. And I don't mean necessarily like mean people or bad people, but it definitely, when anything in the world becomes popular and is trending, you're going to get people that want to profiteer off of that, aka scalpers. So, it's gotten to the point where the website, when he releases stuff that's going to be announced, it crashes or people can't add things to cart, and there's all these different problems. So now, because it's a small team, because they can't make as many things as bigger companies, things are selling out super fast. And that's what people were afraid of, the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Even if they didn't want that product right now, or they couldn't afford it right now, the fear that it wouldn't be there later, pushed people to buy it, and put themselves in, I want to say, sometimes in financial straits. Like, some people, just bought out of fear and, got themselves in trouble financially. And you'll see the posts like, oh, I bought this doll, I couldn't bond with it, or I bought this doll and now I have these bills that I have to pay that I wasn't expecting, etc., yada, yada, yada. That's the whole FOMO with SmartDoll. Now, something changed. In the recent year, I want to say, I think it was this year, in 2024, that it happened. Danny Chu has decided to do something that I wasn't sure how it was going to work. I thought maybe my initial reaction was I thought it was going to create more FOMO than before. And what that was is he introduced inventory listings. So whenever he'd post a new product, underneath the product price, there would be an inventory counter to tell you how many of those are for sale, whether it be 3 of them, 5 of them, 10 of them, 100 of them, whatever. And what I noticed is that we don't have many things selling out as fast as it used to. Now, obviously, big name things that he releases, and especially if he only releases 5 of them, sure, they go quickly. But what I noticed is things don't sell out as rapidly fast as it used to sell out. And I will show you some examples of this really in a bit. I just want to get to chat because I've been talking for way too long, and chat has been posting a bunch of stuff. So Anna's like, no more FOMO. I feel like it needs to be discussed though. FOMO of an SD16 last month, says Tempest. PNB says smart doll equals gateway drug. It kind of is. For a lot of people, it kind of was a gateway drug. And the funny thing about it being a gateway drug, a lot of people got into smart doll, whether it be trending or whatever, and it was their gateway drug to even go to other things. So I know people that have started their doll hobby with smart doll and only collected smart doll that has now since not left smart doll, but now since started branching out and buying other things like Volks or A-Zone or, you know, like a blind box dolls, or et cetera, et cetera. So I definitely feel like it is a gateway drug for some people. Kitten Cat Shop says resin BJ days take 30 to 90 days average after ordering. Less impulse. Smarties arrive in 2 to 3 days. Yeah, that's true too. Another thing that's about smart dolls that's very easy access for people is that when you buy it, yes, you get it within, like, let's say 2 weeks to a month, even latest at 2 months. But when you buy things from Volks, especially if they're anime collaborated, you had to wait a whole year, which was another turn off for like people buying from Volks. Is you would pre-order one doll and you would have to wait a whole year to get it. Tempest says Shizu and I are 8 million years old and started like Dolphy Dream 2 body era. Yes, I actually know. I think my oldest doll is still on the original DD3 body. I don't think I ever owned a DD2 body doll. Like Cheryl, I believe, is my oldest one that I have. And I think she's on a DD3. So I actually don't have the 2. Let's see. Anna says, irony, some of those companies are now releasing 60 centimeter dolls. Some of them are. But to be fair, at least in the big 3, Smart Doll and Volks and A-Zone, they've always released like 60 centimeter dolls. Or at least in A-Zone's defense, they have 50 or 55 centimeter dolls, which is relatively close. So we kind of just average it out to be like a 60 centimeter. There is now 1/6 scale Mecha Musume kits. Yes, but I don't know. I don't believe that Mecha Musume had any attributing factors from Smart Doll, because Mecha Musume, even though it's its own branch of building like model kits, there has always been model kit. I shouldn't say always been, but there has been model kit like characters from anime that you could build back in the day, but they were very few and far between. And I want to say that somewhere around the teens, like 2011, 2012, there were certain, let's say, Gundam model people on YouTube that started making Gundam kits look like anime characters. Like, for example, there is something called the Nobel Gundam. I think it's from G Gundam, I think it's from. And what it was like, it was a small Gundam that sort of had a resemblance of the female form. And a lot of people, or I shouldn't say a lot of people, but there were a few people on the internet that took that Nobel Gundam and turned it into Sailor Moon Scouts. So they started painting them and putting little stickers on them to make them look like Sailor Moon or Sailor Jupiter or Sailor Mercury. And that started taking on a trend, especially now when a lot of the Gundams, are starting to involve more and more female characters as pilots. Now, they've always had it, okay? So it's not like they haven't. They've had it in the original Gundam. They've had it in, like, the 90s Gundams. They've had female pilots. But they were more so characters that were in the background or supporting characters, I want to say. Whereas nowadays, we're getting more and more female I keep saying pirates. Female pilots becoming a mainstay in some shows. Like the biggest example of that would be Witch of Mercury, which definitely features a main character as a female pilot. But you'll also see female pilots in many other different Gundam shows, and they're popping up more and more now. And they started doing things like I forgot the series of characters, but they were characters from the original Gundams, like Sayla Mass and what's the redhead girl from 0080, where they got their own little like model kits, and then from there it started picking up with more model kits. So then Gundam Base Tokyo in Diver City started releasing model kits of mascot Gundam kits, where it was like a girl that was wearing, it's like a girl character that was wearing an apron that said Gundam Base, and instead of coming with a gun, it came with an airbrush thing, and like it was like just like this cute little mascot that you could build, and it was fully posable. And then from there it went to like things like Lacus Klein and things like that, and then other companies started doing it because it was picking up speed. So then you had things like Megumi Device, you had things like was that other one, Frame Arm Girls, etc., and there's so many different brands now. But I feel like the progenitors of it were like mascot characters from Gundam and Gundam Base. And then the first company that emerged, I want to say, that fully invested into the whole Mecha Musume thing was Frame Arm Girls. And then it was just history from there. But I don't think that like the 1/6 scale Mecha Girl kits had anything to do with like any Smart Doll appreciation, let's say. Anna says, I'm stalking Ipple for releases of a doll for the order period. Well, let me know if you see anything good. Tempest says, I think the Hue International accessibility of the Smart Doll shopping site. Oh, I think you meant huge. And the higher profile licenses like Supergirl, Batgirl, Final Fantasy, Nier, and the 1/3 dolls are now known. Yes, like I want to say the DC girls have attracted a lot of attention, especially from Smart Doll. But then also because like Final Fantasy 14 and Nier are such popular games in the past couple of years, that having them release dolls has definitely risen the profile for dolls as well. I want to say Final Fantasy definitely attributed a big lead from that too, because, and the only reason why I say that is because whenever they do there's a thing that they do called live letters, where they talk about what's coming out for the next year and what are the new releases. And in their live letters, they have like literally thousands and thousands of viewers that watch this. And then they announce their first collaboration doll of Y'shtola with Final Fantasy 14 and Volks. And that was just broadcast through a wide audience that never knew what the hell these dolls were. And also with Nier Automata as well, it's such a wildly popular game, internationally known. And then when you search up Nier Automata, let's say you wanted to get a Nier Automata like Figma or something, or like some kind of statue or whatever, the doll would pop up. And then people were like, what the hell is this? So big titles and big names like that really branch out to other fandoms that otherwise wouldn't be into dolls. And I want to say that both Volks and Smart Doll has definitely attributed to that fandom. but more so Smart Doll with its not collaboration, but more so Smart Doll I think has gotten international appeal is because of the skin tone variations and now the new body shape that they're doing. Let's see. Smart Doll doesn't require a proxy service. Yes, Smart Doll doesn't require a proxy service, but neither does Volks. There's no proxy service for Volks either. A-Zone, depending on how you shop on A-Zone, you don't need a proxy service as well because you can get it from AmiAmi Japan. But if you want to shop directly from A-Zone, then yes, you need a proxy service. This is a very good video about the roots of Mecha Musumi. It wasn't intended to. See, this is me going on my stupid tangents. It wasn't intended to be Mecha Musumi. I just kind of got carried away. Buso Shinki, where about 2008 Frames Arms came after that. Oh, I didn't know about Buso Shinki. Anna says, my favorite is Kotobukiya kits. Kotobukiya kits are really cool because they have a lot of slice of life kits, whereas a lot of other model kit companies, it's more so girls with guns and armor. Whereas Kotobukiya does like schoolgirls and things like that, so it definitely ranges for a different audience. Tempest says, I appreciate the Kotobukiya kits, but with the water decals, I would enjoy them more if they had an airbrush. Okay, so with that aside, let's go into some examples, okay? Because we went on quite a big of a tangent there talking about those things. If you go on the Smart Doll site, and this is not like a huge thing that I need to show you guys, but it's just something that I can just show it as an example. So some of the newer characters, like let's say Transcendence in Black Navy, or Marvel in Interstellar or Galactic Gray or whatever, these characters, like, they would sell out instantly. Back in the day, if Danny Chu posted a video or a post on X, I hate saying X, but whenever he posted something on that and it was like especially a fantasy color girl like Black Navy or what was the other one again? I'm forgetting the names already. Interstellar Blue or Galactic Gray. Those things sold like hotcakes, like almost immediate. But I want to say it's because of the FOMO, because people are like, oh, he doesn't release that many of them. I want one. I don't know if they're going to be there. People were buying them up. And now you could see here, we have a Transcendence in Black Navy, which was like the new hot color that everybody wanted to get their hands on. And there's still 6 of them left. You could see it right here. It says fully assembled kit, 72,000 yen, available with ship 6. So there's still 6 of them left in stock. And then if we go to the other one, which is Marvel, which is one of the more popular, I want to say, it's one of the most popular pair girls that are out there, especially going to get it in this alternate color of Galactic Gray. There's still 5 of them left. So people see these things and they're like, oh, well, I don't know how many, when this character was released, how many it started with. It may have started with 10. It may have started with 100 and now there's only 5 of them. I don't know because I wasn't there in the beginning when it was actually posted on the website. But the fact that people can look at this and be like, oh, there's still 5 of them left. Maybe I still have time. I don't have to buy it now, kind of thing. And if you go to, other dolls like Cruel to Be Kind, look at this. There's still 2 of them left over here. Shoes. Looks like there's still 4 of the shoes if you want to get the red wine ones. Like, I think that the fact that people can see how many of these are left is definitely, I think it's helpful. Like even these, like the soft peach bodies, whenever Danny released like new bodies or extra bodies, because sometimes people, their bodies get destroyed or they want the next best thing, which is the new soft peach body. Whenever he would tweet it out, it would sell out really fast. And then everybody would start complaining, on social media, like, oh, it sold out in 2 minutes. I couldn't get my hands on it, blah, 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 blah. But now when you click on it and you see how many are there, like this one has 5, maybe that still contributes to the fact that people are like, oh, there's only 5. I got to jump on it now. But again, these are things that were released several days ago. So that the numbers may have been much higher than this. And this is like, what's left of it. You have Legion here in Black Navy. There's still 5 of her left. Chitose Pair, which is one of the popular characters. There's still 3 of them left. Oversized t-shirt. What do we got? We got 2 of these left. So, you could make an argument. See, these, even the high heel feet, there's still 2 of them left. High heel feet is another one that would sell out almost instantaneously because people really wanted high heel feet. Now there's only 2 of them left. So again, I don't know what number they started out with some of these things. Like this, the head caps have 7, but definitely I have seen things have lasted longer in the stores than they used to. So I say stores. On the Smart Doll store, there's only one store. But I noticed that a lot of these things have been staying on the website a lot longer than they used to. Like if we're talking 1 year ago, just 1 year ago, this whole section would just say sold out. Like it literally would. Like all of this would be sold out. 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 Like everything would be sold out within the same day of release. Now, I don't have any figures or actual statistics to back any of this up. This is just my observation of what have been happening. So some of you out there might be watching this video and you're like, oh, that's not true. Actually, this happened or that happened. And you know what? You might be right. I'm not going to fight you on it. You're probably right. But I'm just really just talking about what I have observed in the past couple of months of how things have lasted. If you guys agree, you agree. If you disagree, that's fine. I mean, I don't care. It's just something that I thought was very interesting to see. And I think that it's something that's going to continue to stay. So it depends what camp you're in. Again, I'll have to check it the next time he does a release or a drop to see how many items of that are actually in stock versus now. Because this is already several days later. I mean, he released what the baggy jeans was. Let's see. The baggy jeans was actually today. Oh, it's today. So there's only 2 left of the baggy jeans. I don't know what number he started with, though, when he released them. So let's see. What about Transcendence? So Transcendence was on the 14th. So that was about like 4 days ago, roughly, depending on how you're counting your days. Because if you're in Japan, it's already 4 days. If you're in America, it's still 3 days. But I think that this is something that definitely would have sold out almost instantaneously. And there's still 6 of them left. So really, I think having the numbers there definitely cuts down in FOMO. I mean, what do you guys think? Like, am I 100% wrong on this? Because that's possible. It's possible. Or do you guys agree? Have you guys seen? I also don't see as many people complaining on social media anymore. It used to be that a drop happened, and then you would have all these retweets and all these tweets underneath of, oh, I missed it again. Oh, I couldn't get it to cart, or oh, are you gonna make any more? I missed it. Blah 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 blah. I actually see less and less of that now, and honestly, I don't know if I could tell you whether or not that least how do I word this? That least amount of complaining or. The lesser amount of complaining is attributed to the fact of having the inventory amounts there versus maybe Smart Doll is losing its popularity now. Everything has an up and a down. What goes up must come down at some point. So it's quite possible it's a combination. If it's not solely for inventory numbers, it might be a combination of both. Maybe the inventory numbers being there helps cut down on FOMO. Maybe Smart Doll has peaked and has hit his pinnacle and is now on its way down. I honestly don't think it's really on its way down, though, to be fair. I think it's still, doing relatively good. And especially I feel like it'll do even better. It's going to have another spike in popularity when Cortex 2 gets released because there's a lot of hype around Cortex 2 right now. So I think that's also going to help out in the Smart Doll sales. But again, Danny doesn't do this for sales. He doesn't do this for money. He does it because it's purely for the love of the game. Like, he just loves dolls. He loves being creative with them, and so does the rest of his team. So money is not the goal. However, he is realistic in order to keep this, business going, and in order to fund future projects and other things that he wants to do, it does require money. So, sales always helps in that regard as well. But I think that having the inventory numbers there have definitely helped in curbing FOMO. That's my opinion on that. I really think that is something that has attributed to less of the FOMO purchases that happen out there. Because I've seen a lot less complaining from people of, I haven't been able to get something. I've also seen lots, I shouldn't say lots, but I've seen fewer posts of people, reselling their doll after just buying it the next day. So I have seen that kind of cut down a little bit more as well. So it might be very much so that FOMO is in the rear view mirror for now, at least for the time being. We'll see as we get further along in the year with other doll releases to see how much of an impact it's really going to make. Because again, this whole thing of the inventory list is something that's new. It's only been out for, I want to say, a couple months now. So it's not that long of a sample period to really give a definite, like, oh, it's great or it's not. But so far it seems to be trending on the right track. Let's see. Going back to chat, Tempest says, I think I need to buy an electric teal wig separately. I think I love the wig more than the doll. Sometimes that's true. A lot of these dolls come with wigs where it's just like, I really just want the wig. Does somebody want to split a whole doll with me and I'll just take the wig? It's like, sometimes I feel like that way too. It's like, I really just want that wig. I know what you're talking about, Becca. Anna says, FOMO, or it seemed like everyone tried to be the first to post newest doll. I just can't keep up. Yeah, there definitely was a trend of that too. Like, there definitely was a trend of people just being like, oh, I'm the first one to have it. Let me do the first unboxing video, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there definitely was a trend of that for a little bit. I think that's another reason why I don't do I'm not really in the mood to do unboxing videos as much anymore, is just because that I feel like the YouTube market has been oversaturated with unboxing videos, and it's like we've seen so many of them now. It's like, I really don't need to see an unboxing video. Just post a really nice picture of your new doll, really, is all we need. Let's see. Becca says, true question, is FOMO ending or market saturating starting? Yeah, because I got to this comment that you made a little bit late. I know you posted that way earlier in the stream. I think it is a combination of both. I feel like FOMO's coming down to an end, partially in part because the inventory numbers are there, but also because I feel like Smart Doll's hitting a lull, I want to say, where everybody has bought the hell out of Smart Dolls, and now they're kind of in Smart Doll fatigue right now. Kitten Cat Chop says, oh, good question. Or are our spending habits changing back from COVID habits? COVID habits were bad. I don't know if it's because everybody was home and couldn't go to work and they're just online all the time and just getting enticed by just buying things. But COVID habits are definitely bad. I'm definitely a victim of COVID buying sprees. Becca says, yeah, if all who wanted a pair got one, how fast will the rest of the stock sell? Depending on how they sell, I feel like they could slow down on making pair girls and focus on more of the prototypes. You know what I mean? Like getting out new things or working on new passion projects that can evolve and turn into probably a new mainstay for the Smart Doll site. Anna says, I know not being able to travel contributed to buying doll buying for us, and despite experts, spending is down overall markets, non-necessities. It definitely, I don't want to talk about politics because that's a whole nother thing. But I definitely think that the thing with presidents changing around has definitely affected market prices for things, and things have been going higher and higher since the last president. And I don't know, like some people are telling me that when I say new, but when the next president takes office, which is what I think Monday, or was it the last Monday, that supposedly buying and overall goods is going to go down in price. But I don't know how much truth or stock is into that. But I understand what you're trying to say with that, Anna. Time will tell. Let's just say that time will tell whether or not that's actually going to happen. Tempest says, are SMD shoes leather other than the vinyl ones? Yes. So if you get something like this one here, these are leather. But if you get like the other ones, which are, it's not here. It's, let's see, let's go to the apparel. Footwear, like these are leather. The purple ones are the black one is vinyl. This black one here is vinyl. It even says vinyl on there. These mecha boots are vinyl, but these colored ones, like the Chelsea boots, the lace boots, these are all like leather. Now, thickness of leather, I have no idea. Anna says they're thin, but like they definitely are leather or some form of pleather, I guess. I'm not a fan of the vinyl ones though. Not a fan, I have to say. I understand the reason why he did it. You know, but I miss the old shoes. Like I don't even know if they still have them on the site actually. Let's see. If I type in, was it pumps? I wonder if it'll show me the other ones. Yeah, like these older ones, like look at these. Vinyl shoes. These were the ones I miss. I have this pair of brown shoes. I love these. This is my favorite shoes that my dolls wear. Like these nice leather shoes, or this blue leather shoes, these were super nice. I want these to come back, but they haven't come back in a long time. He only has like the vinyl ones. Like look at these red ones. I missed out on red. I wanted these so bad. I missed out on these. These are beautiful. Like they have like the little Danny Chu logo on the inside. You know, they have the inner lining. They have this suede. Oh, I love this suede. My brown ones are suede. They're so good. Oh, the original ones are not here. So they have a black suede one. Like these were nice. These were adorable shoes. I love them so much. I'm so happy I have like a couple pairs of these. But the new ones now, like these, like sure you get like a colored shoes, but like I don't like this. Like it just doesn't look as good, and especially the inside. And you know, an argument can be made that you don't see the inside when they're wearing the shoes, but it's like I know it's there, and that's what bothers me. Like I don't know, I'm not a fan of the vinyl shoes. I understand why he did it, and you know, it's his company. He can do whatever he wants. I'm not going to criticize him for running his company the way he wants to run it. It's his company. Let him do whatever he wants. But I will say that I do miss the original like shoes that were there. I really do miss them because they were my favorite shoes, is having like the leather ones and the high heel pumps. They were definitely the best. Let's see. Those jeans are hella expensive. I spend more money on jeans from Smart Doll than I do on myself. Like, yes, they're expensive, but they're well worth it. I want to say they're well worth it. These jeans, no doll company does jeans like Smart Doll. I will say that. You can criticize me all you want. You can call me a fanboy. I've had different jeans from other companies, and I still think Smart Doll jeans are the best jeans for dolls. I will stand by that statement. Tempest says, I think having a number of cuts on FOMO. I know of people on Etsy that list digital items with a small quantity to make people choose faster. I mean, I guess so. I'm not really sure because I don't really look on Etsy that much. But I see what you're trying to say. PNB Sakura says, I think, and this is my personal take on talking to a fellow doll friends, is the direction of clothing designs and stuff from Smart Doll with the whole cyber stuff is less anime, and less anime has led to decline. I agree. I agree, because at least from the old faithful group of people, like people that have been with Smart Doll from the beginning, I think a lot of the initial fandom of Smart Doll were people that really liked the anime look. A lot of them were fans of the anime look. A lot of them were also fans of the original clothing style, like the modern chic clothing that Danny was doing in the very beginning of Smart Doll. I think a lot of people were really big fans of those. And then when he moved on to like doing semi-real, a lot of people started gravitating towards semi-real, but there was a good healthy choice between semi-real and anime. So it kept going. Like if you were an anime fan, you bought the anime. If you were a semi-real fan, you bought the semi-real. If you like both, you had abundance of choice. And then I think when he started focusing more on semi-real and not releasing as much anime, there definitely was like I don't want to say a huge cry, but there was a cry for more anime to return. And then when he got onto his whole like post-apocalyptic wear, it was really cool in the beginning because it was a change. You went from modern chic to post-apocalyptic. It was something different. It's something you've never seen before in doll clothing. So it's hype. It's new. But he never moved on to a different style of clothing from there. It's kind of like he's been stuck in this, I really like this, grungy, post-apocalyptic look, and he's been doing it for many years now. And I think people are starting to get tired of it because a lot of his clothing that's still available on the website are the post-apocalyptic stuff. But again, he's not doing it for the money. He creates things that he likes, and whether or not we buy it is a whole nother story. So if he wants to make post-apocalyptic stuff, that's his choice. Whether or not sales will suffer because of that, again, also his choice to make as the owner of the company. But I do understand what you're saying. Like, I do feel like that as the company's turning away from, I shouldn't say that. That's wrong of me to say. But as the company went towards a lot of semi-real releases and the post-apocalyptic has been staying around for a little bit longer than I guess people would like, I think that also could have led into the decline of FOMO because maybe people have just seen too much of it. Let's see. I think the boys and Cortex will sell quick because no market saturation yet. Cortex will sell quick. The boys, I'm not so sure of because Danny's not the first one to try to sell boys. I think that boys in all the different doll companies still don't sell as well as the girls. That doesn't mean demand is not there. I just don't think they sell as well as the girls. Also, from what I hear from a lot of my other doll collector friends, is that they want boys and they still want to buy more boys, but the ones that are being released don't really speak to them, if that makes any sense. Like they don't like the style of facial features or the look. They're looking for something different. And I think that also contributes to the low sale of the Smart Doll boys, or any boys really in any doll company, is because the option that's there is not the one that people are looking for. And because the initial option didn't sell so well, it kind of makes companies be like, well, if it's not selling, I don't want to put in extra R&D to make more different kinds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think that also contributes to that. But again, I don't have sales figures. I don't have like actual hard statistics to provide proof to what I'm saying. This is just my observations of what I've noticed. Magical Girl Kit Kat says there are way more characters available for sale than competitors, which is impressive. The unfortunate side is resale isn't doing so well as it used to. People buy and resell them all the time. That is true too. Like Smart Doll has so many different characters to choose from now that, it is getting a little like saturated. And I don't know if this is appropriate to say or not. Like, and I don't mean it in a mean way, but it's more so that with companies like Volks, because their main focus is selling IPs and characters from IPs, they do continue to sell things because that's something new and something different. Whereas with Smart Doll, he'll have a certain head sculpt, and then he'll make multiple characters out of that one head shape. And some people might argue that like 10 characters look like the same character, which to me, they're not. But that's because I have a hard time telling the difference between all the characters. Not everybody is like me. Some people can tell the character sculpt immediately from seeing the character. I think that the makeup, the hair, and the eye choice colors and shapes and things like that make every character unique and different. So from my personal perspective, I just see different characters. But some other people in the hobby just see one sculpt and continuously seeing one sculpt. And I think that's something that's a little off-putting for some people as well. Now that Smart Doll has been around for a while and a lot of people know how the company like essentially works, is that they'll come up with a new sculpt and they'll make as many characters out of that sculpt as they can until they decide to make another new sculpt and then start the process all over again. The Tempest says the yen to USD does not promote buying used. Yeah, that's true too. It's much cheaper to just buy it from the doll company because the yen is so low than buying it from another person in the United States, at least. Kat says, I've seen way more things sit in marketplace and not go for asking prices. I get overwhelmed by having so many choices. And with shrinking my collection, I am much more selective. Yeah, me too. I've been way more selective with what I shouldn't even say that because I just bought a couple of things in 2024. But I would say that pre-COVID to now I definitely been way more selective in buying things than I was pre-COVID. Let's just say that. Like pre-COVID, I was buying things left and right. It was really bad. Magical Girl says, I agree, Tempest. It's getting harder to buy a doll and sell to afford your new one. That is very true. It used to be that the aftermarket value for a doll was higher than the doll itself. Now, in order to sell a doll, it's much lower, unless you have the coveted rare dolls, like let's say Nami or Mika Jogasaki, or anything anime collaborated from Smart Doll, really. When it comes to Volks, they still hold firm in their market value for anime collaborated girls. Most of the time on the secondhand market, Volks dolls will go for the same price as release or more. And that's because of the limited nature of their dolls, the limited nature of the IP, and because every single IP is a brand new face sculpt that is unique to that specific doll. So for those that don't know, Volks does have generic heads. I think they're at head 27 now or 28 that anybody can buy through Doll Choice or Dcord or just off the website and just customize it themselves. But every anime collaborated doll is a brand new head sculpt that will only be used for that particular doll. And I think that lends to the fact that some dolls are in more demand than others. And because it is a specific IP, the resale value of those things and being limited numbers, the value is still there. Whereas with Smart Doll, the resale value is not as high as you would have for like a Volks doll, if that makes any sense. Tempest says there is a 3-hour video now on YouTube with 300 blind boxes from Kiki Goods being opened. The box openings have gone mayhap too far. I think that's a little overkill. 300 dolls to unbox is a bit much. Kat says I'm over the unboxing videos too. Yeah, me too. I want to love the dolls I have. Honestly, I am more happy creating and having less in my own collection. Plus, creating gives a sensation of a new doll. Weird, right? Not weird. Not weird. That's understandable. I get that. Even though I don't create dolls myself, I do get where you're coming from that. Tempest says, with a 3D printer, I have lots of dolls and projects I can work on. This is true. Oh my god, I'm losing my place. Anna says, yeah, unboxings and overconsumption are big topics right now, unless it's some unique design or new artist. I am not watching hauls or unboxings. Yeah, the viewership on those things have died. Like, even on my own videos, that I don't get as many views on unboxings as I used to. I think people are over it. PMB Sakura says, the OG shoes were amazing. Like little tiny shoes that were made like real shoes. I know! I miss the OG shoes. Let's see. Tempest says, I'm fascinated by my SMDDD videos though, seeing what the new eyes and seeing what makes the feelings overflow. Oh, Moni Rumia, welcome to the stream, Moni. Smart Doll's bizarro way of selling is not going to grow a buyer base in this climate. Maybe he should focus on full sets and better face-ups. I get what you're saying with that. I think that what you're calling his bizarro way of selling, I definitely agree that it's not the norm way of selling things. I don't know if I'd call it bizarro, but it definitely is not the normal way that most big box companies are selling their dolls. So I will agree with that. Whether or not it's relative to a growing buyer base in this climate, I would have to agree in part. And I think the part that I agree with that is because, and it's just like everybody else said in the chat above you, is that the market is getting oversaturated, and I think people are just buying less in general because there's too much consumption in the past couple of years, especially through COVID, that people aren't buying as much. And by selling things the way that he does, that may have impacted in the way that people buy things. So I kind of agree with you, and I kind of half don't. Like, I'm a little bit on the fence on that. Maybe he should focus on full sets and better face-ups. He could. He used to release the dolls with a full outfit, like back in the day. He started shying away from that because it made the dolls cheaper. So they used to be like $500 a doll because they came with outfits. They had shoes and like full-on outfits. And some people couldn't afford it, and some people didn't like the outfits that it came with. So, a lot of people asked for just the doll to be sold. And he's been doing it like that ever since, where you just get the doll with an underwear and you just buy your outfits a la carte. But it used to be sold with full outfits, and and the price value, was a lot higher for people to get into a bar of entry for these dolls, and not everybody liked the outfits that were being offered with it. So, that it kind of went away after a while. As for the better face-ups, I can't really comment on that because I don't really know how much goes into a face-up, how easy or hard it is. I'm sure Magical Girl Kit Kat can weigh in on that. But I do believe that the face-ups they do, at least from my how should I say it, my uncreative eye, because I don't know how to do face-ups myself. From my untrained eye, the face-ups are the same as Volks that you get, in my opinion. I could be totally wrong on that because I don't know what goes into actually making a face-up. So, that take it for what you will. Take it for a grain of salt. Vinyl shoes remind me too much of Barbie shoes. Yes, they do, Anna. Way too much. PNB says it needs to be inside in case you are using a show as a prop in the background. Yeah, because when you show them as props, like, you could see the inside and it's just unsettling. That is very true. Smart Doll jeans and the jean shorts are amazing. They're probably the best ones, I think. The 2-part uniform fit too tight to allow for easy play with the doll. Yeah, the uniforms were really tight on the dolls. Like, some of them couldn't bend their arms because they were really tight and form-fitting. Let me just take it off this because it's just on there for too long. So yeah, I definitely agree with that too, Tempest. Christina Kowald, welcome to the stream, Christina. Smart Doll jeans are fantastic. I know, I love them. PMB says, I miss the classic anime style school outfits and fantasy stuff. I do miss it too. There's definitely been a lack of those as of late. If I could pick any outfit from Smart Doll history, I would pick the ninja outfit. The ninja outfit is pretty cool. I miss the, oh man, if we're talking full set outfits from Smart Doll, I miss the suit. I had two of the suits and I sold them. I regret selling them now, but I do miss the Smart Doll suit. That was one I really liked. Full outfits. I wasn't really a fan of the ninja one. I know a lot of people like the ninja ones. I actually like the Hakama that's out right now. I actually really enjoy that one. Keith, what's up, Keith? Welcome to the stream. I miss old school Smart Doll. The Wayback Machine of the old site gives me the feels. Yeah, I think I don't know if it's because we have been around, like you and me, Keith, like we've been around since the beginning of Smart Doll. But I do miss the original vibes and the original feel. It's something about the original Mirai squad was just really, really like got me into Smart Doll. Like Mirai Millennium having the cast, having its own like intro video for the characters, each one having like a story with like pictures that went along with it, trading cards that came with the dolls. You know, a lot of that old mystique of anime, like so much anime put into the background of the characters. I miss those days. It's not to say that Smart Doll is now a totally different company per se, but I definitely missed the feel or the vibes that it gave out, like in the initial years. But you know what we get in return, now that we don't have that vibe anymore, I guess you could say, what we get in return is different forms of creativity and diversity, because he's on the kick of diversity and inclusivity. So now we're getting things that are different. So the anime vibes is kind of gone, and now we got the semi-real vibes with, you know, the multiple skin tone colors, as now we have 4, the multiple body styles, the new Cortex coming out, you know, a lot of these things are different and new, you know, to the doll scene. So we're getting something different in the end. Not necessarily bad, but I do understand what you mean, because I'm right there with you. I do miss the old school Mirai Millennium vibes that they had in the beginning. Let's see. I like Smart Dolls. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped too much. I don't want to skip people. I know there's a lot going on in chat, but I feel like everybody needs a voice. I want to read everything that you guys say. Anna says resin boys of a certain style are very popular, but not the sweet young look of Gemini. That's true. The resin boys look more like mature, I want to say. Oh, I gotta go to that Wayback Machine tomorrow. AG and Crimson, since they look older, more 19 to 20. Gemini looks 14. Uncomfortable posing him in certain situations. Does he? I don't know. I feel like they all look like they're high school kids, in my opinion. Tempest says truth. I just want to put my Nimbus head on a cinnamon boy body. Moni says, I think the truth is Angelphilia is taking up that vinyl market. New hobbyists really gravitate to that brand. I have no comment on that, because I haven't been keeping up with what Angelphilia is doing currently. So I don't want to make a misjudgment call on that, because I honestly have nothing to compare it to, because I haven't looked into what they're doing right now. But if you say that, you know, Angelphilia people are gravitating towards, I'll take your word for it, simply because I honestly don't know. Tempest says, I used to feel meh on the Angelphilia, but I've warmed up to the exaggerated sculpting style. Do they still have it though? Because I remember Angelphilia from a couple years ago when I was looking into them. They did have more of an expressive look that could be misconstrued for other things, depending on which sculpt that you got. Let's see. Moni says, the person who got me into the hobby had a lot of Angelphilia. I always like them. I just do not own any. And I feel there's some truth behind that, Moni, is that whatever doll got you into the hobby always holds a special part a special place in your heart. So if you started with angelphilia, I definitely think that you would have a bias towards angelphilia, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just more so like it gives you that nostalgic, happy feel, that sense of innocence when you first got into the hobby and everything was all like sunshine and rainbows. You know what I mean? It has that special sentiment in you that whenever you see one, it kind of brings that back. So when I say bias, I don't mean a bias in a bad way. I mean it in a good way. Anna says, I liked Smart Doll's wholesome but older look, especially for making stories and characters. Christina says, my super favorite guy is Crimson, and for 5 years I haven't been able to find him. Even the head, not a single person has sold him. I can believe that because there's not many people that bought them to begin with, and the people that have them now, I don't know how many of them really want to give them up, to be honest. Tempest says, without clothes, the waist of SMD looks more realistic than DD. The angelphilia is a step beyond that. Without clothes, the waist of SMD look more realistic than DD. Oh, okay, I get you. Yeah, like for Smart Doll, their body shape is much more curvy and supermodel-like with the long legs, versus Dolphy Dream, unless you get Dynamite, most of the bodies are kind of like straight, if that makes any sense. And they don't have like a lot of junk in the trunk, so to speak. Unless you get like a Dolphy Dream Dynamite, where Smart Doll, they got some junk in the trunk, let's say. Kat says, I love Smart Doll face-up style a lot. I'm not into licensed dolls, so while it's fun seeing what Volks makes, I really was only interested in dream choice and customizing. Yeah, and I definitely get that for you, Kat, because you do all your own face-ups, and you have like a certain feel and style for the dolls that you like. So, being a customizer, I definitely get where you're coming from when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, I always picture you more so the type of person that would like to make a custom doll than to buy an already made doll. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I do like Tiny Fox and A-Zone also, just haven't decided on who and what. Yeah, me too. I want to jump onto the Tiny Fox bandwagon as well. I'm just looking for that special one that like catches my eye that I want to pick up. Let's see. Tempest says, there is a beauty that hand painting a face-up can achieve that always feels lacking in mask painted dolls. That is true. That's why the ones that have like custom face-ups are way more expensive, because it's not something that I think that the average layman could see with the naked eye. But I think and this is purely speculation because I don't do face-ups myself, but I feel like a person that does their own face-up feels more in tune with it because you know what went into it, and it therefore holds a lot more appeal. There's also tiny little details that you can put into a face-up if you do it by hand, whereas a face mask is literally like just paint by numbers kind of thing. Anna says, Smart Dolls had good proportion and good stability for poses. What first drew me. Resin didn't behave the same then, but engineering has improved. Posing is very important for me. Yeah, posing is important, I think. And I think posing of Smart Dolls, at least in the beginning, not that they've changed, but what I'm saying is their ability to do amazing poses far outdone A-Zone and Dolphy Dream. That's definitely one of the things that, because I owned a Dolphy Dream before I owned a Smart Doll, and I used to think that Dolphy Dream was like the pinnacle. And it's not to say that Dolphy Dream's bad, it's just that when Smart Doll came out, the amount of posability and the way it can hold its pose, and with the quote-unquote innovative like car antenna as a stand thing, just made it so much easier to pose them than having a regular waist cinching or saddle doll stand. Especially for picture taking. So all of that like kind of lended up and turned into this huge like amalgamation of like awesome, if you want to say. Tempest says, I really want Fairyland to update their 60 girl to an active like they did for the boy. I don't know anything about that, so I can't comment. Honestly, Anna says, honestly, after having Fairyland versus Ipple and other resin, Minifee is worst posing, stability, and has seam lines, and WX cost of others. Well, I know with the Minifees, because if I'm remembering it right, like the Minifees, like there's not much room inside the doll for structural integrity, is there? To be able to hold their poses as much, or am I thinking of a totally different doll? Magical Girl Kit Kat says, face-ups are no joke. I have a tremendous amount of respect for face-up artists and BJD companies. It's very hard to do and do well. And yeah, and that's also why things like Volk's full choice dolls cost so much more, because they're hand-painted instead of a faint mask. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they're hand-painted. And then if you buy other dolls from other vinyl companies, a lot of them come in limited production because the faces are hand-painted rather than paint masks. But Tempest would know a lot more about that than me, as she focuses a lot more on resin dolls than I do. Kelly Poplier, welcome to the stream, Kelly. I know I'm getting to your message late. I'm trying to catch up on all the chat messages. If you could only order one outfit set or piece for pair, what would you choose? I'm waiting for Gray Pear Girl. If I had to order one thing, okay, all right, let's do it. Let's do this. Okay, so pair body apparel. If I could do one thing, or what was it, one outfit set or piece, what would I do? It would definitely have to be, I feel like it would definitely have to be the jeans. Like I definitely want the jeans, because the jeans are just amazing. So the Tokyo jeans is what I have on my doll right now, but they're making baggy jeans for the pair, and I think they're making regular Hiroshima jeans for the pair as well. So I think jeans is definitely a must for me personally. And then you could do, I like doing like the bikini thing as the top. And then like you could put something over that, like one of the bigger shirts. Where is it? Do they have it here, or is it sold out? Like I would do the bikini top with like something like this, like the nice shirt, and have like a little bit of the bikini exposed from the cutout at the top. Outfit size wise, like I'm not really into the flight suits, as they look really cool, but for my theme for my dolls, I don't really see any of my dolls like thematically wearing like a flight suit. And the dresses are nice, but it's not really my cup of tea. Like they look beautiful, but again, it doesn't flow with my character style for my ladies. So yeah, I think jeans is definitely a must-have. For me, I think that's a must-have. Magical Kit Kat says, Danny has hinted at not being able to maintain and carry the number of characters he has. My gut tells me that there will be a shift sometime in 2025, whether it's way less dolls. Yeah, I don't know. They've been... So in the past year or two, I think Smart Doll has been on an overdrive with many dolls and different face-ups. They definitely have released a lot of different characters within the past 2 years, and some of those characters are hit and miss. So, you know, obviously the ones that didn't work so well, they kind of sold out and then never came back. And the ones that sell fairly well versus the ones that Danny just personally likes himself are the ones that are still in stock. But I think there's definitely going to be a shift, like you said. I think he's going to do probably more quantity of dolls that you could buy, but like quantity as in more inventory, but less choices, if that makes any sense. Like there'll probably be like maybe 10 dolls overall that's going to be available, but there's just going to be more of them that you can afford, that you can purchase, rather than having like 20 different dolls or 25 different dolls available and only having 5 of each available. But I definitely can see a shift of that happening. Or a higher focus on customization and make it your own. It feels like something is coming. I don't have the ESP though. He definitely is. I feel like he's been pushing a lot for creativity, especially because he's been on this whole kick of, doing the Smart Doll Outposts and advertising like, look, this is what we sell, and check out all these other vendors I brought along with me, and they could show you what you could do with your dolls, kind of thing. So customization is definitely a big thing, I think, for him right now. He's definitely on a customization kick, as well as I feel like him pushing, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but him pushing people to test their boundaries, to try something new, like as in, the free patterns and free STL files for people to step into the genre to make their own things, and him always promoting that, he's going to give away like free patterns so that you can make your own money designing things. I think he's been pushing that a lot in the past year and a half or year or two of, he's been pushing the fact that Smart Doll is more so the platform for your creativity, rather than Smart Doll is a product that you can buy and just play in love with. I think he really wants people to buy Smart Doll like a canvas. And then what you do with that canvas is up to you. And here are the tools, or here are the different people you can look up to or buy from in order to paint your canvas, so to speak. So I definitely agree with that. Again, I don't have ESP either, and Danny hasn't told me any of these things. This is just something I observed, and I feel the same vein that you do, Kat. Like, I definitely get that vibe from him as well. Christina says, it's great Danny is doing body only, is a great help for $466 Australian dollars. I was lucky to get my hand on a classic head on your girl with purple marks on her face in a T. So yeah, I think that, going back to Manny's point, is it Manny? I don't want to pronounce her name wrong. It was Moni Rumia's point about selling dolls with full outfit sets. Again, he did do it at one point, and I think that the general consensus is the fact that people, I feel like the general population wants something that they can customize to make their own, if that makes any sense. Whereas, like, when I was growing up, it's always like you bought a set. This is the set. This is what it looks like, all complete. And I think people are starting to shy away from that, and they want something cheaper to make their own. So, because I remember back in the day, people would buy like Ebony or Ivory or Twilight, and it would come with the plain white t-shirt, the vinyl shoes, and the corduroy pants, whether it was the brown or the green corduroy pants. And it cost you an extra $120 more to buy the doll with that outfit set, and nobody really liked them. Like, a lot of people were just reselling them and couldn't even get people to buy those outfits. So yeah, you can make the argument that it was just the wrong outfit set, but it's also for the fact that, like, people don't want to be pigeonholed into buying an outfit that they don't like. So maybe you like the outfit with the corduroy pants and the t-shirt, and you're like, that's the best outfit. I love this outfit. But then not everybody else out there feels the same way. So I think the great equalizer was the fact that he's just selling the doll as is, just with the wig and the underwear, and then you choose a la carte how you want your doll's style to look, instead of you having extra clothes that you paid for that you're never going to use sitting in your closet. Let me see. And plus the fact, the price factor also. Like, if you're not going to use it anyways, people would rather spend $120 less and then just maybe buy secondhand clothes or sew their own clothes anyways. So I think it's just a win-win for most people. And obviously you're not going to be able to satisfy everybody in the world. So you gotta kind of find a happy medium somewhere. Tempest says, I'm opposite. I bought the flight suit and the Solar Marine uniform. I bought the Solar Marine uniform and I used it like once, because as stunning and beautiful as the Solar Marine uniform looks, you can't really pose them and move them that much because it's so tight on the doll body. It's really hard to like move them around in it. That's like the only bad side to it. But I understand why he made it that way, because if he made it any looser, or if he made it like slightly roomier, or I don't know what the right word is, or stretchy material, it wouldn't look as good on the doll. It would look baggy, or would have extra folds in it because of where the doll's arms or legs bend. And so aesthetically it wouldn't look as good, but as long as your character was always standing and not really like bending their arms too much, it looked great. So it's kind of like that give and take. It's the same mentality behind when Danny decided from a design aspect that the knee joint was only going to bend 90 degrees and not any further, because he didn't like it when the knee bent all the way back and then you could see the line cut in the shell and it just looked unsightly. So it's definitely like a design choice that he made and that he's sticking with. And, you know, it's his doll. He could do whatever he wants. So if he wants to do it that way, I mean, for me personally, it's not a game breaker. It's not a deal breaker for me. So, I mean, I'm fine with it, but it could be a deal breaker for other people. So it really just depends what you're looking for in a doll, I feel. Kelly says, thanks for the advice. You're welcome. Anna says, as ex-Air Force, I admitted directly to Danny, I need the flight suit in non-distressed olive green. Why? Because like all the flight suits are in distressed olive green. The orange flight suits are more akin to Star Wars. I think that's why he came up with orange for his flight suits, because it really just reminds him of Star Wars and what the rebels wore. More so than doing the olive drab green for realistic United States Air Force people. I asked if he'd ever release the pattern. I wonder if he will. I mean, he might. That also is a great thought, Kelly says. Cortex 2 is going to be the pop-off for creative people upon release. I think not only is it a pop-off for creative people, I think it'll get people from outside the hobby to also join in. Like a lot of those people that do Mecha Musume kits, I think will be drawn towards Smart Doll Cortex 2. And the original reason for Cortex 1 is to draw in those people. So it was twofold. Cortex 1 was supposed to be a cheaper option and a more scalable option for Smart Doll to release a doll. Not only is it easier to make, well, it's more expensive to make the molds, but once you have the molds, it's easier to reproduce in large quantities. It was supposed to be more durable, but there's a lot of stories of why it's not. It was supposed to be easier access to people that didn't have a lot of money, depending if you wanted to build it yourself or buy a pre-built version. There were a lot of factors that went into it, but the problem is that most people that were getting into the hobby didn't want to build their own doll, except for a small select few. It wasn't as sturdy in some places as they hoped for, like especially the bicep joint always cracked for a lot of people. And overall, in the long run, it turned out that it wasn't a scalable doll as he thought, because the amount of time it took to cut out the pieces and sand them down and get it ready for shipping required way more manpower than he expected. So ultimately, Cortex 1 became a failure. And all the people that he was trying to get into Smart Doll from the Gundam model kit hobby by making it a build it as your own kit didn't even know it existed at the time to get into it. So I spoke to a lot of people in the Gundam hobby, about the Smart Doll Cortex, and they're like, that sounds cool, I want to do one. And I'm like, yeah, it's not selling anymore. And they're like, oh man, that sucks. So it's like most of the people that he was trying to attract with it from the Gundam model kit side didn't even know it was there until it was gone. So I feel like with Cortex 2 coming out, the fact that it's not only a better version of Cortex, so to speak, and I only say that because it hasn't been released yet, so we really don't know until it gets released how well it will do. But it's supposedly a much better, sturdier product that won't break down as it did before. And I'm assuming you're going to have the option to build it yourself for a cheaper price or buy a pre-built one. I'm assuming. I don't know that. I don't know that information for sure. But also, the whole fact that the original Cortex had all these seam lines in it and it was supposed to look like a seamless doll was an off-putting part for some, I think is going to be the mainstay and the reason why people buy it now. Because now with a cyber body, all those lines and all those joints and all those like little cuts in the frame is actually intentional to make it look like an android or some steampunk version or cybernetic version that a lot of people from sci-fi and Gundam model kits are going to get drawn to it now. Especially with all the things that you can do with like putting like like blueberry pies in it or putting like LEDs in it, which you couldn't do before because there were no holes for the LED to expose light from. So I think there's a lot more different things that they learned from the original Cortex that they have now changed and implemented with the new version of Cortex 2 that I think will sell much, much better. And the fact that he's promoting Cortex 2 at other venues other than just anime or doll venues is also going to expose that Cortex 2 to a lot more different people for potential buyers. Anna says, I think the full set thing is he never marketed the dolls as display items. It was taking it out and playing, i.e. redressing. I mean, I can kind of see where you're going with that. I still think it's more so that the outfit choices didn't really appeal to most people, and they didn't want to pay the price for something that they weren't going to use anyways. I think it was more so that, especially for the later dolls than the first. So with the very first Mirai and the very first Kizuna, they came with I don't want to say very, but they came with special outfits that were pretty unique to them. Whereas all the dolls that were released afterwards, including Chitose, like Chitose, Melody, Ebony, Ivory, Haruka, who else was released during that time? Sana, Felicity, like all those dolls came with very generic outfits that looked very bland. And I don't think it really appealed to a lot of people. Whereas Mirai and Kizuna, they came with the amazing Smart Doll jeans that everybody wants. It came with these cool baseball tees that were very unique to Mirai and Kizuna. Like they were colored in Mirai's colors or they were colored in Kizuna's colors and it had their names on it. Or no, it didn't have their names on it. It had the Smart Doll logo on it. That's what it was. Had the Smart Doll logo on it, had the cool little Smart Doll tags on it. They came with like beanies, so they look like skater girls. Like I think the original outfits were so unique to them and so colorful that people didn't mind paying the higher price for those outfits because they were great quality, really colorful looking, and overall appealing. Whereas the outfit sets that came afterwards, which were like the corduroy pants, whether it was brown or green, and then just the plain white tees with no design or color to it, I think it was just so bland that people just didn't want it. And they felt like they were spending more money for outfits that they were never going to use and couldn't resell. I think it was more that than the fact that like people just it wasn't really a display item and they just want to redress their dolls. Kelly says, dressing and photography is how I like to play with my dolls. Yeah, and that's a big selling point for a lot of people too. I never collected dolls until I got into Dolphy Dream and Smart Doll, and I didn't realize how much changing outfits was a lot of fun, and I didn't even like photography at all. But now I actually like photographing my dolls and kind of get into it now. So it's definitely a big selling point for a lot of people. Anna says the bodysuit is on both our Cortex 1 bodies so that it is a seamless option. That's a good way to do it. That is a good way to do it. I don't have enough bodysuits though to go through all my dolls, so I only put it on my originals. Other than fashion dolls, BJDs especially seem to be more undressed. Fewer full sets unless licensed or character collabs. That's true. Like if you go to other doll companies, They will have, well, I want to say that a lot of resin doll companies, they give you an option to buy just the doll or to buy the outfit set that comes with it. When it comes to Volks, if you're buying an anime collaborated doll, they will always come with an outfit set. You have no choice. If you're buying a D-Cord, you have no choice. You have to buy the outfit set. I think it's only when you do a dream choice or you do an original character like Candy or Mirai, they all come in like what do you call those slips? Like those lingerie slips that like women wear underneath their clothing or to bed. They all come with those. So that's the only like bare bones version that they come with in that company. Same thing with like A-Zone. A-Zone, all their dolls come with an outfit set. So, not many of the vinyl era or anime era come with just the doll itself. A lot of them come with outfit sets. Whereas in like resin, I believe you have a choice. For some characters, you have to buy the outfit, and other characters, you can just buy the character and not the outfit, I think. But correct me if I'm wrong on that, Tempest, because I know Tempest knows a little bit more about that than I do. Kelly says, I always like the first dolls photos and would love to get those again. When you say first dolls, do you mean the original smart dolls like Mirai and Kizuna? We finally bought, but it was without outfits in 2019. So like, just to give you guys an idea, let me see if it's on here. Like the original Mirai outfit. Let's see. Mirai. Actually, let's do Kizuna. Let's do the original Kizuna outfit. So Kizuna. See if it's there. That's alternate. That's the Tenchi one. Oh, it's actually not here. What? That's crazy. These are the outfits that it came with. Like this corduroy pants. Nobody wanted this. Nobody wanted to spend the money on this. Where is it? Oh man, it's the original one's not here. That is crazy. Kizuna Legacy hairstyle. It's got to be somewhere here in the archives. I'm sure if you go to Smart Doll Guru, you'll find it. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Let me see. Let's see. What about Mirai? If I find it on Mirai. Is the original Mirai on here? Dude, that's crazy. They're gone. It's got to be hidden on the site somewhere. I don't think he really took them down for good. It's got to be on the site somewhere. Maybe I'm not typing in the right thing. Oh, here. It's not Mirai's, but you got Ebony. And it's on a picture of the vintage hair, but you get this cool like colorful baseball t-shirt. So Ebony had the green one, Mirai had the orange one, Kizuna had the blue one. And then there was another character. There was a black one and a brown one that also came out in the colors for the t-shirts, and they all came with the Smart Doll jeans. I wonder if it's like in the Smart Doll. Please learn about where is the... Oh, it's about Smart Doll, I think. Maybe you'll see it here in the original Smart Doll post. It's not any of those outfits. Where's the original one? Those are the anime collabs that he did before. Wow, that's wild. Is it really all gone? Sorry if I'm scrolling too fast. I'm just trying to see if I could find the original look. Oh my god, the old school commercial. What's so smart about Smart Doll? This is my favorite commercial of all time. Here we go. There's like a picture of it here. If we can I zoom it? I can't get it to go any bigger. Yeah, I can't get this picture to go any bigger. But there's like a picture right here. Oh, you guys can't see it. I'm so sorry. Do you see this picture here? This like top middle one? Oh, here we go. I made it bigger. Right there is the original outfit that the Smart Dolls came with. So Mirai would have this beanie, and she would have this really cool like baseball tee that's like white and orange, and then she would come with the jeans. And like this outfit was amazing. If all of them came with some variation of this, I think people wouldn't mind spending the extra money to get this outfit. But the bland outfits that they came with afterwards was just not something that, you know, people really liked. Is there any more pictures that I could find of it? No. Was there? No. That's the tourism thing. Keep calm, Smart Doll thing. Oh man, I can't even find it anymore. That's so crazy that it's gone now. Okay. Well, anyways. Yeah, like back in the day, I feel like those sold those outfit sets sold much better than the ones that came afterwards. A nice CJ basic outfit to get on the dolls is great. Now I have planned for extra clothes beyond the doll, especially for Pear. The dressed dolls in a clear box. Yes, those ones. Those were the original Mirai and Kizuna, the ones that came in the clear packaging. Let's see. Kitten Cat Shop says, I love options by EDW or Jerry buying from small businesses. I don't know the Jerry one. Actually, I'm not familiar with that, but EDW does a lot of good stuff. Like, I have a couple of her outfits. She has some really cool things. They're very, like, the thing I like about EDW is it's very, her style of clothing that she releases, very, like, casual, but very homey feeling. It's got that casual homey feel, which is really nice. And it's like, I don't know how else to describe it other than casual and homey feel. It's like very comfortable feel to them. Let's see. Yeah, great to fill up a wardrobe. Anna says, Danny at one time donated dolls to a Japanese fashion school, so it encourages you to dress your doll in making for them. I don't remember what the fashion school was, but I know he donated to an arts institute. Kelly says, my thinking is that it's too cold in Wisconsin not to have a dressed doll versus undies. Well, I mean, they ship it to you in undies, but like you're supposed to like, you know, pick out an outfit that suits the character or the personality of the doll that you got. I don't think it's meant for you to just keep your doll in the underwear forever. Scruffy looking Nerf Hoarder says those outfits were what the first Smart Dolls I saw were wearing at Fabric Friends and Dolls. Yeah. Those were the original outfits that Iris had them posed in. Danny probably has it somewhere. I'm sure he has it archived somewhere. I'm just not typing in the right words in the search bar, but I'm sure he has it somewhere. Anna says Jerry is Ocusterio. I know I misspelled it. Yeah, send me the link, Anna, because I'm not familiar with that one, but I would like to see it. But that's generally like the overall gist that I was trying to get with today's episode was that like I feel that, especially because today's topic is all about Smart Doll, I feel like there has been a lot of changes in Smart Doll land, and it's not necessarily changes for the worse. It's just different. And I think that's a good thing, because when you get too complacent and too comfortable with selling the same product over and over and over, you're definitely going to get fatigue and decline. And I think that him branching out to do other things like, you know, Pear Shape, Cortex 2, Coffee, definitely shows that he wants to do something different than the norm. The only thing that I would say that he is kind of guilty of is for some reason he's still making post-apocalyptic like apparel. I feel like that I honestly feel like that ship has sailed. People have already had their fill of post-apocalyptic. They bought a lot of it when it first came out. It was a really cool thing because it was just different. But I think after years of having it, I think it's kind of died down in popularity. I think if he goes in a different direction, like going back to what he originally started with, like fashion, like modern chic fashion, or even if he just goes to casual, because right now I think even in today's fashion world, I think a lot of people, and I don't mean the super rich, but I'm saying like the average person, a lot of us are wearing a lot of loungy type of wear now. Like I noticed there's an influx of people buying and wearing jeans, but they're not your traditional jeans where it's like hard jean. A lot of them, I don't know what the term is, but my wife was even talking to me about it now. She's like, oh, stretchy jeans, where it's like sweatpants, but they look like jeans. I've seen a couple of my friends doing that already too. Like they wear things that look like combat pants or jeans, but when you touch them, they're actually stretchy like sweatpants. Like lounge wear is big, active wear is big, like Lululemon type of stuff. So like I feel like if he goes in a different direction to mimic like today's fashion style and then, you know, market it on a 1/3 scale smart doll, I think that would be a nice change that people would start buying more smart doll clothes again. But that being said, that would be me imposing on his business and kind of telling him like what he should or shouldn't do. And I know that that's not my intention, but it's more so like it's his company. If he wants to continue making like post-apocalyptic wear, he has every right to. I mean, he makes the rules. It's his company. And whether or not we buy it is up to us. And we have to make that choice whether or not to buy it. And if we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. And life goes on. Smart Doll will still continue being Smart Doll and making whatever it is that strikes their fancy and what inspires them. And if it's not what inspires you, then, you know, just like he said in his tweets, just go somewhere else. Because there's other doll companies that offer different things. So yeah, I mean, but if he wanted to change what he's selling in order to you know, recoup more funds, and not even to make money, but let's say he sells things to make money in order to use that money for research and development purposes to chase another passion project that he wants to do within Smart Doll, then I'm all for it, because it's the ends justify the means, right? So if he sells things that people want purely because they want him to get money that he can use to fund Cortex 3, let's say, or a different body shape like Pocket Doll or a mini Smart Doll or something like that, then all those funds can be used for research and development purposes to create new things for Smart Dolls, or a new skin tone color or something of that nature. So there's different routes that he can take it, but ultimately the decision is up to him on which route he wants to take his company. Keith says, funny thing, I have Iris's Mirai and Kizuna dolls. Like her last ones? Or are you just saying that you bought your Mirai and Kizuna from Iris? Because I believe you told me that you did before. Kelly says, not if you ain't got peach clothes, adds to cost. Yeah, the peach clothes, I mean, everything that you buy is going to add to the cost. They're not going to give anything away for free. But yeah, I mean, it does. You're not wrong. Anna says, oh, Keith, lucky child of an unmarried mother. Kelly says, I like post-apocalyptic and not enough for pear. Anna says, Kelly, both of the ones I mentioned do classic and pair and average half the cost for official stuff. Kelly says adds to cost either through Danny or some other clothing place. That is true. You're not wrong. I mean, if you want to dress your dolls and if they come in just the underwear, yes, you do have to spend more money to dress them. That's why this hobby is, and I don't mean to sound condescending. That's not my point. I just want to reiterate the fact that, you know, this hobby is a very privileged hobby. Like, collecting dolls is definitely not a necessity, and it is not a cheap hobby to get into. It's not as expensive as other hobbies, like let's say building the best computer or buying race cars. It's definitely not to that level of expensive, but it's definitely not cheap like collecting pull-up dolls or your favorite Disney princesses or something like that. Like it's definitely way more money than those, or your average like anime collectibles. Like these dolls are way more money than those as well. So this hobby is not a necessity, it's a luxury. And you just got to understand that going in, that like if you want to delve into this wonderful and beautiful hobby, unfortunately you're going to have to cough up funds to be a part of it, because it's not a cheap hobby. Unless you go the other route, like Anna and Becca, or even Kat, where you buy like the bare bones stuff and then you customize it yourself by doing your own face ups, or making your own clothes, or making your own accessories, where that would in a way drive up the cost because you still have to buy the materials and the tools. But once you have that initiating cost down, the world's your oyster. You can make anything else that you want in whatever quantities you want for yourself, or even sell to recoup money to buy other things. But it definitely is a very costly hobby. It does cost a lot of money to be in it and stay in it. Like I think to say otherwise would be lying, because I mean each doll almost costs as much as a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, and people buy those things, and that same system lasts them for years. Sure, they spend more money because they got to buy games for it, but like the initial cost is still $500 or so, depending on when you bought your PS5. But it's the same thing with these dolls. The initial cost to buy the doll is expensive, because right now it's at like what, $385 to buy a smart doll, and then think of the clothing as like buying games for your gaming system. You pay the money for the system, which is a lot, and then you pay a little bit more money for each game that you add on to the system, or you pay a lot for the doll, and then you pay a little bit more money for each item or article of clothing that you add to the doll. So, it is admittedly an expensive hobby to get into. Let's see. Anna says, Pear is still new body type. Classic is now 10 plus years. Pear will get more as it's available. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's being that Pear is the new kid on the block, there's not as much readily available clothing and accessory wise until a lot more time has passed. But I will say that for something that has been around for like almost a year now, they already have way more stuff available for Pear than Smart Doll had when it originally launched with just Mirai and Kizuna. Because when Smart Doll originally launched with Mirai and Kizuna, there wasn't really anything extra you could buy at that time. It was just the dolls and what clothes they came with. I'm trying to remember what other things were released at launch. I don't think there really was anything. Like they started adding other clothings like the nice tee or the heels or the suits or the kigurumi stuff, like not until like a year afterwards. So given the fact that Pear Body is new, there already is a lot of things available for it. Even though it doesn't seem like much, it's definitely way more than the classic girls got when they launched. Keith says the one she had on display is the one that he bought. Oh, okay. I think I've seen those ones because I remember seeing them on display when I went to the store. So you got those ones, huh? Kitten Cat Chop says, I feel like I know you, Keith, after visiting them for so many years, and Iris always refusing to sell Kizuna to Corey. Keith says, admittedly, she was hesitant, but I needed them with their OG raglan and jeans. Yeah, that OG look is just so popular. PNB Sakura says, custom clothing, though, is sometimes more than the doll. That is true, depending on where you go to buy outfits. I bought this one outfit that cost just as much as the doll. It was the fairy outfit that Cheryl wore at Otakon 2 years ago. That cost me just as much as the doll. It was like $350 for that outfit. It was really expensive. King Cat Shop says, I remember in 2019 buying a lot of TTYA and stuff meant for DD. Yeah. A lot of people did that. And TTYA till this day still makes really good stuff that you could interchange and use between DD and Smart Doll. Kelly says, not gray pear. She's going to be expensive and cold. Oh, hopefully not for that long. Okay, I think, yeah, I actually caught up to all of chat. I'm so sorry it took so long, but you guys had a lot to say, and as always, I love reading everything that you guys put down and answering whatever comments that you put down, because again, having this channel and doing these live shows is like my excuse of hanging out with friends and being able to converse with friends, whereas otherwise I wouldn't, because there's not many doll people around me where I live, so it's not like I could talk doll stuff to everybody around me. The only time I could talk doll stuff is when I go on these live shows with you guys. So I love reading every comment and trying to reply to every single comment. So I'm sorry if it took so long to catch up to all the chat, but I really want to make sure that everybody's voice is heard and that I get to at least give them my input on, especially if they ask for some kind of input. Kelly says, more than happy to buy clothes later. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm sure your dolls will get clothed at some point. Okay, so moving on. That's basically everything I wanted to talk about FOMO. I know we went on huge tangents here and there about FOMO, but yeah, that's pretty much everything. So before I close out the episode tonight, I do want to do a rather normal staple of the channel for Beyond the Doll, and that is going to Shizu-san's Anime Corner. So admittedly, I haven't been watching a lot of anime as of late because I've been playing a lot of video games during my winter break that I took off from YouTube. I've been trying to catch up on video games. So I've been playing a lot of video games. I haven't been watching that much. But one show that I started to watch, and I'm only 4 episodes in, is this one, which is called Dadan Dadan. So most of you probably already know or have seen this show. And maybe I'm a little bit late to the game, but Dan Dadan is a very weird show. I don't think this show is for everybody because it's so weird. So for one, you can't watch this with kids. There's a lot of cursing. There's a lot of violence in it. Also, it's for kids. If you watch this around kids, it's going to give them nightmares because the show is about aliens and the supernatural. And when I say supernatural, I mean things like ghosts or, I don't know, mythical beasts or something. And then aliens, obviously aliens from another planet or whatnot. And it revolves around these 2 characters in the very middle of the picture, the young boy with the black school outfit and the young girl with the pink sweater. Those are your 2 main characters. And one is a huge alien nut. He loves alien stuff, and the other one is more akin to the supernatural. Now, I don't want to give too much away, but the 2 are kind of tied to each other through certain events that happen in the very beginning of the show. And as they go on through life, I guess, in the show, they encounter a lot of different things, whether it be mythical or alien alike. And it's really weird. If you're not a fan of weird things, then you're not gonna like this show, I have to say. It's very far out there. I hesitate to say experimental because I don't think it's really experimental, but it's definitely not the norm. This show definitely pushes boundaries. If I were to, kind of try to describe it in a way. So again, it's not for everybody. I think that it's a good show to try if you want to test your boundaries. And again, I'm only 4 episodes in, so I'm not really sure what direction it's going to go or end up being by the end of the first season. But it is a very different show that I'm used to watching. And I watch a lot of weird stuff too. But it's definitely far out there. I tried to get my daughter into watching it with me, and she said that she doesn't even know where to place the show in any particular genre, because it's alien and sci-fi, yes, but it's also magic and mystery and mythical, but it's also like modern and crude, if I were to label it another way. It's just really, really hard to describe this show. But if you want to watch something that that kind of has a little bit of everything in it and leaves you at the end of the show being like, what the heck? Then give Dan Da Dan a try. It's actually really, really popular worldwide as well. I think it's just because it's a breath of fresh air. I think everybody's just getting tired of like the standard cookie cutter like isekai. Even though I'm pretty much the isekai guy, I like watching everything isekai. People are starting to get really tired of isekai. I think rom-coms, like romantic comedies, are making a huge comeback. Musical anime, things like Love Live and Idolmasters, has really taken a nosedive. No one's really like watching those things anymore. So I think that Dan Da Dan coming out right now is like a really great mix of like a lot of weird stuff that people just haven't seen in a long time. It's kind of like the same vein as what was that zombie show that just came out? Like things Zombieland or something like that. It like that was like very weird and cutting edge that we haven't seen something like that in a long time in anime. And I feel like this show is kind of like around the same vein. There's like a lot of like weird, crazy stuff that they throw at you. Kind of like Magica Madoka back in the day, how like everybody thought Madoka was going to be like this cute little like anime girl like show, like magical anime girl show, like but it turned out to be anything but. It was really, really dark. It had really, really like colorful and strange art style, but it was very like comforting in a weird way. So like this one's kind of like that, like when it comes to like the artistic style that it takes. Like just think like Magica Madoka when like they go into like the weird witch worlds. Like a lot of the art style kind of reminds me of that in Dan Da Dan. Keith says he loves the show. Magical Kit Kat says, I love Dan Da Dan. First episode, though, I was so confused. Yo, I think everybody was. The first episode was really confusing. Lots of looking at my brother who recommended it to me as a comedic romance, saying WTAF like 80 times. I absolutely adore it now. Yeah, like that's mean. If your brother said that there was a comedy romance show, dude, he was so trolling you, because it is nothing like a comedy romance. Although there is there is comedy in it, and yes, there is romance in it, but like it's not what you would expect when people say comedy romance. Like just because it's in there doesn't mean it's a comedy romance show. It's funny though. That's funny that he told you that. Kat says, it feeds my weird soul. Plus, I'm a huge alien and paranormal fan. Hits on all levels. Yeah, see, if you like that kind of stuff, then this definitely vibes with you. Like, if you like sci-fi and paranormal stuff, this show will vibe with you like crazy. But if you're not usually into that, like it's not that you don't like it, but if you're just like, you don't really look for it, then it's not a show that will appeal to you off the bat. But if you give it a few episodes, it starts to grow on you. So just give it a try. See if maybe you'll like it. Keith says, it reminds me of some of the older Gynax shows. Gynax shows as in like, are we talking things like I don't even know if this was a Gynax property, but I think I understand what you're saying though. Like those old school like 90s shows that were like really weird, that wouldn't really do well today. Like the original Ninja Scroll movie. There were a lot of like weird scenes in that too that wouldn't go today. Things like MD Geist, which was like really weird and far out there shows back then. Things like Hunt of the Yoma, which was like a really weird like paranormal show back in the day about ghosts and stuff. So if you're talking about like that kind of stuff, like then I get what you're saying. But if you're just talking about like old stuff like in 90s in general, because 90s was like the Wild West of anime. Like they were really pushing the boundaries in the 90s of like what could be acceptable or not, I guess. Like let's just put it this way. A lot of the shows in the 90s would not be really, like, you couldn't really air it on streaming today because I think people would get offended by some of the shows in the 90s. Like some of them were really in your face out there. But yeah, let's just leave it at that. The 90s was a very interesting time in anime. It was a very interesting time in anime. But yeah, like, it's like kind of like watching, okay, it's kind of like the original Ranma 1/2 and then watching Ranma 1/2 now, like the new version. Like the new version is so much more cleaner and age appropriate. If you watch the original Ranma 1/2, it's super pervy and like just not appropriate for like kids to watch. Oh, Ben Benjamin, yes, Aeon Flux. Aeon Flux is another one that's like way out there and like so like really weird and just different. Yeah, I remember Aeon Flux. I remember watching that as a kid. My parents didn't let me watch it, but I snuck it. I snuck it in to watch that. That was a wild show. That was a wild. I don't think you could really air Aeon Flux today. I think that might offend some people or off-put some people today. But in the 90s, it was like, whoa, this is cool. But yeah, that's my recommendation for this episode of Beyond the Doll. I think the Dan Da Dan is a very interesting show that people should give it a try, at least before you say no to it. At least give it a try and see if you like it. Keith says quirky Gynex like Gurren Lagann, Panty and Stocking, Gunbuster, Kare Kano, yes. Kare Kano and Gunbuster, yes, and Gurren Lagann. Panty and Stocking, I don't think I've seen that one. I might have to Google that one. I don't think I've seen Panty and Stocking. Let me see. But yeah, that's my pick for this week's episode of Beyond the Doll. I think the Dan Da Dan, you guys should give a try if you haven't already. It's an interesting watch. But that's it. Sorry, that's everything for today's episode. So thank you everybody for coming to the stream, whether you're watching this live on stream or if you're watching this later on the VODs. Thank you for coming and spending your time, taking time out of your busy day to spend with me. And again, if you have anything that you want to share that you didn't get to because you're watching this on the VODs, just put it in the comments section down below and I will do my best to reply. I've been really bad about replying to comments lately, and I do apologize for that. I'm going to spend a day to clear out my comment section to make sure I respond to people. I've just been like once the camera goes off, it's like my mind goes in like all different directions lately. So, but I will try. Like, you leave a comment, I will eventually get to it and I will reply to you at some point in time. So please leave a comment if you do. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like, because it really does help out in the algorithm to, promote this to other people. Share it with your friends if you think it was an interesting watch, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you get notifications of whenever I'm on or do anything new. But you guys already know my schedule, so that's kind of like, as long as you know the schedule, you know when to sign on. But if I do anything new and quirky, at least you'll get notified if you subscribe. It also helps out the channel. But thanks everybody for watching. As always, I am your host, Shizu-san, and my beautiful assistant with me today is the ever lovely Cheryl. And we will see you guys next week for the news on the Doll Symposium. So take care, everybody. Bye.